Fight by Percy MacKaye, a collaborative reading for LibriVox.org.
Jock, read by Greg Giordano.
Ma, read by Deanna Lee.
Pa, read by Larry Wilson.
Jean, read by Lisa Green.
McDonough, read by Dan McNallen.
Sailor 1, read by Derek Atwater.
Sailor 2, read by Larry Wilson.
Sailor 3, read by Elijah Fisher.
Narrator, read by Red Run. Fight, the tale of a gunner at Plattsburgh, 1814. Jock bit his mittens off and blew his thumbs. He scraped the fresh sleet from the frozen sign. Men wanted, volunteers. Like gusts of brine, he whiffed deliriums of sound, the droning roar of rolling, rolling drums, and shrilling fifes like needles in his spine, and drank, blood-bright from sunrise and wild shore, the wine of war. With ears and eyes he drank, and dizzy brain, till all the snow danced red. The little shacks that lined the road of muffled hackmatacks were roofed with a red stain, which spread in reeling rings on icy blue Champlain, and splotched the sky like daubs of sealing wax, that darkened when he winked, and when he stared, caught fire and flared. Men wanted, volunteers. The village street, topped by the slouching store and slim flagpole, loomed grand as Rome to his expanding soul. Grandly the rhythmic beat of feet in file, and flags and fifes and filing feet, the roar of brass and unremitting roll of drums and drums bewitched his boyish mood, till he hallooed. His strident echo stung the lake's wild dawn, and startled him from dreams. Jock rammed his cap and rubbed a numb ear with the furry flap, then bolted like a fawn, bounding through shin-deep sleigh-ruts in his shaggy brawn, blowing white frost-wreaths from red mouth agap, till in a gabled porch beyond the store he burst the door.
Mother,
he panted.
Hush! Your pa ain't up. He's worser since the storm. What struck ye so?
it's volunteers.
The old dame stammered,
Oh!
and stopped and stirred her sup of morning tea, and stared down in the trembling cup.
They're musterin' on the common now.
I know.
She nodded feebly. Then, with sharp surmise, she raised her eyes. She raised her eyes, and poured their light on him who towered glowing there, bright lips apart, cap off and brown hair tousled. With quick smart she felt the room turn dim, and seemed she heard far off a sound of cherubim, soothing the sudden pain about her heart. How many a lonely hour of after woe she saw him so.
Jock?
And once more the white lips murmured.
Jock!
Her fingers slipped, the spilling teacup fell, and shattered, tinkling, but broke not the spell. His heart began to knock, jangling the hollow rhythm of the ticking clock.
Mother, it's fight, and men are wanted.
Well, well, it's men may kill us women's joys. It's men, not boys.
I'm 17. I guess that's 17.
My little Jock!
Little, I'm 6'1".
Scorn twitched his lip.
You saw me, how I skunned the town last Halloween at wrastlin'.
Now the mother shifted tack.
But Jean? You won't be leaving Jean?
I guess a gun won't rattle her.
He laughed and turned his head. His face grew red.
But if it does, the gal don't understand. It's fight.
Jock boy, your pa can't last much more. And who's to mind the stock, to milk and chore?
Jock frowned and gnawed his hand.
Mother, it's men must mind the stock, our own born land, and lick the invaders.
Slowly in the door stepped the old worn-out man.
Woman, let be. It's liberty. It struck him like fork lightning in a pine. I felt it too, like that in '76. And now, if 'twa'n't for creepin' pains and cricks, and this one leg o' mine, I'd holler young Jerusalem like him and jine the fight. But fight don't come from burnt-out wicks. It comes from fire.
Maybe,
She said.
it comes from fifes and drums.
Dad, all the boys are down from the back hills. The commons cacklin' like hell's cocks and hens. There's swords and muskets stacked in the cow pens, and knapsacks in the mills. They say at Isle Oxenoi redcoats are holdin' drills, and we're to build a big fleet at Vargine. Dad, can't I go?
I reckon you are a man. Of course you can. I'll do the chores to home. You do 'em thar.
Dad.
Lad.
The men gripped hands and gazed upon the mother, when the door flew wide. There shone a young face like a star, a gleam of bitter sweet 'gainst snowy islands far, a freshness like the scent of cinnamon, tinging the air with ardor and bright sheen. Jock faltered.
Jean.
Jock, don't you hear the drums? I dreamed all night I heard 'em, and they woke me in black dark. Quick, ain't you comin'? Can't you hear 'em? Hark! The menfolks are to fight. I wish I was a man.
Jock felt his throat clutch tight.
Menfolks.
It lit his spirit like a spark, flashing the pent gunpowder of his pride.
Come on,
he cried.
Here, wait.
The old man stumped to the back wall and handed down his musket.
You'll want this, and mind what game you're after, and don't miss. Good-bye. I guess that's all for now. Come back and get your duds.
Jock, looming tall beside his glowing sweetheart, stooped to kiss the little shrunken mother. Tiptoe she rose and clutched him close. In both her twisted hands she held his head, clutched in the wild remembrance of dim years, a baby head, suckling, half dewed with tears, a tired boy abed. By candlelight, a laughing face beside the red log fire, a shock of curls beneath her shears, the bright hair falling. Ah, she tried to smother her wild thoughts.
Mother, mother,
he stuttered.
Baby Jock,
she moaned, and looked far in his eyes, and he was gone. The porch door banged. Out in the blood-bright dawn, all that she once had owned, her heart's proud empire, passed. Her life's dream sank unthroned. With hands still reached, she stood there staring, wan.
Hark, woman,
said the bowed old man.
What's the tolling?
Drums, drums were rolling. Shy wings flashed in the orchard, glitter, glitter. Blue wings bloomed soft through blossom-colored leaves, and Phoebe, Phoebe, whistled from gray eaves through water shine and twitter and spurt of flamy green. All bane of earth and bitter took life and tasted sweet at the glad reprieves of spring, save only in an old dame's heart that grieved apart. Crook-back and small she pulled the big well-sweep. Creak went the pole. The bucket came up brimming. On the bright water lay a cricket swimming, whose brown legs tried to leap, but, draggling, twitched and foundered in the circling deep. The old dame gasped. Her thin hand snatched him, skimming.
"Dear Lord, he's drowned."
She mumbled with dry lips.
"The ships! The ships!"
Gently she laid him in the sun and dried the little dripping body. Suddenly rose-red gleamed through the budding apple-tree, and
Look, a letter!
cried a laughing voice.
And lots of news for us inside.
"How's that, Jean? News from Jock? Where is he?"
Down in Virgine's, the shipyards.
"Ships? Oh, no, it can't be so."
He's going to fight with guns and be a tar. See here, he's wrote himself. The post was late. He couldn't write before. The ship is great. She's built from keel to spar and called the Saratoga, and Jock's got a scar already.
"Scar?"
The mother quavered.
Wait,
Jean rippled.
let me read.
"Quick then, my dear. He'll want to hear. Jock's paw. I guess we'll find him in the yard. He ain't scarce creepin' round these days, poor Dan."
She gripped Jean's arm and stumbled as they ran, and stopped once, breathing hard. Around them chimney swallows skimmed the sheep-cropped sward, and yellow hornets hummed. The sick old man stirred at their steps, and muttered from deep muse,
"Well, Ma, what news?"
"From Jockey. There's a letter."
In his chair the bowed form sat bolt upright.
"What's he say?"
He's wrote to Jean. I guess it's boys their way to think old folks don't care for letters.
"Girl, read out."
Jean smoothed her wilding hair, and sat beside them. Out of the blue day a golden robin called. Across the road a heifer lowed, and old ears listened while youth read,
Friend Jean, Virgine, here's where we played a Yankee trick. I'm layin' in my bunk by Otter Crick, and scribblin' you this mean scrawl for to tell the news what all I've heard and seen. Jenny, we've built a ship, and built her slick, a Swan, a 740-tonner, and I'm first gunner. You ought to seen us launch her t'other day. Tell Dad we've christened her for a fight of his'n. He fought at Saratoga. Now just listen. She's twice as big, folks say, as Perry's ship that took the prize at Put-in Bay. Yet 40 days ago, hull, masts, and mizzen, the whole of her was growin', live and limber, in God's green timber. I helped to fell her mainmast back in March. The woods were snowed knee-deep. She was a wonder, a straight white pine. She fell like roarin' thunder, and left a blue sky arch. Above her bustin' all to kindlin's a tall larch. Maybe the skart jack-rabbits gun from under. Us boys hoorayed, and me and every noodle yelled Yankee Doodle. My, how we hawed and jeered the big ox sledges, haulin' her long trunk through the hemlock dells, a bellerin' to the tinkle-tankle bells, and blunted our axe edges, hackin' new roads of ice 'longside the rocky ledges. We stalled her twice, but gave the oxen spells, and yanked her through at last on the home clearin'. Lord, wa'n't we cheerin'! Since then I've seen her born, as you might say, born out of fire and water and men sweatin', blast furnace rarin' and red anvils frettin', and sawmills night and day, screech owlin' like 'twas Satan's rum house run away, smellin' o' tar and pitch, but I'm forgettin' the man that's primed her guns and paid her score, the Commodore. McDonough, he's her master, and she knows his voice like he was talkin' to his hound. There ain't a man of her but ruther drowned than tread upon his toes. And yet, with his red cheeks and twinklin' eyes, a rose ain't friendlier than his looks be. When he's round, he makes you feel like you're a gentleman American. But I must tell you how we're hidin' here. This Otter Crick is like a crook-neck jug, and we're inside. The redcoats want to plug the mouth and cork our beer. So last week Downey sailed his British Lake fleet near to fill our channel, but us boys had dug big shore entrenchments, and our batteries stung 'em like bees, till they skedaddled whimperin' up the lake. But while the shots was flyin' in the scrimmage, I caught a ball that scotched my livin' image. Now, Jean, for Sam Hill's sake, don't let on this to mother, for you know she'd make a dearie me in that would last a grim age. 'Tain't much, but when a feller goes to war, what's he go for, if 'tain't to fight and take his chances?
Jean stopped and looked down. The mother did not speak.
Go on,
said the old man. Flush tinged her cheek.
Truly, I didn't mean. There ain't much more. He says,
Goodbye now, little queen. We're due to sail for Plattsburgh this day week. Meantime I'm hoping hard and taking stock. Your obedient Jock.
The girl's voice ceased in silence. Glitter, glitter, the shy wings flashed through blossom-colored leaves, and Phoebe, Phoebe, whistled from gray eaves, through water shine and twitter, and spurt of flamy green. But bane of thought is bitter. The mother's heart spurned May's sweet make-believes, for there, through falling masts and gaunt ships looming, guns were booming. Plattsburgh, and windless beauty on the bay, autumnal morning and the sun at 7. Southward, a wedge of wild ducks in the heaven dwindles, and far away dim mountains watch the lake, where, lurking for their prey, lie, with their muzzled thunders and pent levin, the war-ships Eagle, Preble, Saratoga, Ticonderoga. And now a little wind from the northwest flutters the trembling blue with snowy flecks. A gunner, on Macdonough's silent decks, peers from his cannon's rest, staring beyond the low north headland. Crest on crest, behind green spruce tops, soft as wild-fowls' necks, glide the bright spars and masts and whitened whales of bellying sails. Rounding, the British lake-birds loom in view, ruffling their wings in silvery arrogance. Chub, linnet, finch, and lordly confiance, leading, with Downey's crew, the line. With long booms swung to starboard, they heave to, whistling their flock of galleys, who advance behind, then toward the Yankees, four abreast, tack landward, west. Landward, the watching townsfolk strew the shore. Mist-banks of human beings blur the bluffs, and blacken the roofs like swarms of roosting choughs. Waiting the cannon's roar, a nation holds its breath for knell of nevermore, or peal of life. This hour shall cast the sloughs of generations, and one old dame's joy, her gunner boy. One moment on the quarter-deck Jock kneels beside his commodore and fighting squad. Their heads are bowed, their prayers go up toward God to whom appeals still rise in pain and mangling wrath from blind ordeals of man, still boastful of his brother's blood. They stand from prayer. Swift comes, and silently, the enemy. MacDonogh holds his men, alert, devout.
He that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind. Behold, the ships that be so great are turned about even with a little helm.
Jock tightens the blue clout around his waist, and watches casually close by a gamecock in a coop who stirs and spreads his spurs. Now bristling near, the British warbird swoop wings, and the Yankee eagle screams in fire. The English linnet answers, aiming higher, and crash along Jock's poop, her hurtling shot of iron crackles the gamecock's coop, where, lo, the ribald cock, like a town crier, strutting a gun-slide, flaps to the cheering crew, "Yankee Doodle-Doo!" Boys yell, and yapping laughter fills the roar.
"You bet we'll do 'em!"
"You're a prophet, Cocky!"
Hooray, old rooster!
Hip, hip, hip!
cries Jockey. Calmly the Commodore touches his cannon's fuse and fires a 24. Smoke belches black.
Huzza! That's blowed 'em, Pocky.
And Downey's men, like pins before the bowling, fall, scatter rolling. Boom! flash the long guns, echoed by the galleys. The Confiance, wind-baffled in the bay, with both her port-bow anchors torn away, flutters, but proudly rallies to broadside, while her gunboats range the water alleys. Then Downey grips MacDonogh in the fray, and double-shotted from his roaring flail, hurls the black hail. The hail turns red, and drips in the hot gloom. Jock snuffs the reek and spits it from his mouth, and grapples with great winds. The winds blow south, and scent of lilac bloom steals from his mother's porch in his still sleeping room. Lilacs! But now it stinks of blood and drouth. He staggers up, and stares at blinding light.
God, this is fight!
Fight! The sharp loathing retches in his loins. He gulps the black air, like a drowner swimming, where little round suns in a dance go rimming the dark with golden coins. Round him, and round the splintering masts and jangled coins reel rattling, and overhead he hears the hymning, lonely and loud, of ululating choirs strangling with wires. Fight! But no more the roll of chanting drums, the fifing flare, the flags and magic spume, filling his spirit with a wild perfume. Now noisome anguish numbs his sense, that mocks and leers at monstrous vacuums. Whang! splits the spanker near him, and the boom crushes MacDonogh in a jumbled wreck, stunned on the deck. No time to glance where wounded leaders lie, or think on fallen sparrows in the storm, only to fight. The prone commander's form stirs, rises stumblingly, and gropes where, under shrieking grape and musketry, men's bodies wamble like a mangled swarm of bees. He bends to sight his gun again, bleeding, and then, oh, out of void and old oblivion and reptile slime first rose Apollo's head, And God, in likeness of himself, 'tis said, created such an one, now shaping Shakespeare's forehead, now Napoleon, various, by infinite invention bred, in his own image moulding, beautiful, the human skull. Jock lifts his head, Macdonald sights his gun to fire, but in his face a ball of flesh, a whizzing clod, has hurled him in a mesh of tangled rope and ton, while still about the deck the lubber clod is spun, and bouncing from the rail lies in a plesh of oozing blood, upstaring, eyeless, red, a gunner's head. Above the ships, enormous from the lake, rises a wraith, a phantom dim and gory, lifting her wondrous limbs of smoke and glory, and little children quake, and lordly nations bow their foreheads for her sake, and bards proclaim her in their fiery story, and in her phantom breast, heartless, unheeding, hearts are bleeding. Macdonald lies with Downey in one land, victor and vanquished long ago were peers, held in the grip of peace an 100 years. England has laid her hand in ours, and we have held and still shall hold the band that makes us brothers of the hemispheres, yea, still shall keep the lasting brotherhood of law and blood. Yet one whose terror racked us long of yore still wreaks upon the world her lawless might. Out of the deeps again the phantom fight looms on her wings of war, sowing in armed camps and fields her venomed spore, embattling monarch's whim against man's right, trampling with iron hooves the blooms of time back in the slime. We, who from dreams of justice dearly wrought, first rose in the eyes of patient Washington, and through the molten heart of Lincoln won to liberty forgot, now standing lone in peace, mid Titans strange distraught, pray much for patience, more, God's will be done, for vision and for power nobly to see the world made free. The Outlook, Percy MacKaye. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.